Is PC and console gaming over on YouTube? I know that might sound ridiculous, but there was just yet another official YouTube announcement about how unbelievably massive mobile gaming is getting on YouTube. YouTube already had, in 2019, 4 out of the top 10 games on YouTube were mobile games. Now a mega announcement from YouTube executive Ryan Wyatt says that Garana Free Fire in 2020 with an esports event for a mobile game got 1.1 million peak concurrent viewers during a mobile gaming esports event, eclipsing tons of traditional esports, just totally crushing PC and console traditional games. Is this a total mobile gaming takeover? I mean, just that one event itself got 15.7 million views. Is this the trend that you guys need to jump on if you want to be a part of the future? Because PC and console seems to be going down and mobile gaming is hockey sticking up. What can you do about it? Watch all the way to the end to find out.
Okay, so you may not have even heard about Free Fire. You're not going to be alone in that. It's definitely more of a positional game for your worldwide audience, not necessarily the English-speaking audience. But that's not even the point of this entire conversation. We're looking right now. I don't know if it's up on the screen. I think it is. The LinkedIn post. Awesome. The LinkedIn post where Ryan Wyatt, he's talking about this, and he's talking about 1.1 peak live and 15.7 million views. Now, the thing that's interesting here is most of the viewers are coming from India, Brazil, Indonesia, and Vietnam. So we already know, we've talked about this before. Parents gone over this explicitly before about how mobile gaming overseas outside of North America is huge. Is this a trend that is going to carry over into the English-speaking countries more and more? And I got to tell you guys, after seeing a 1.1 million number in there, I think we have to start having the conversation about whether or not it is going to be worth it to continue streaming non-mobile games in the far future.
Perrin, I want to get your take as a full-time gaming mobile streamer before we go into all the deep analytics and numbers on this. What's your view on the trend? You're deep inside of it every day, man.
It's night and day. It's so easy to see how much more explosive growth there is in a mobile game than everything else. To the point that when you actually scope it out and you take a look at it and you're invested in it, when you look back on PC gaming, PC and console gaming just seems like this tiny little niche that everyone's fighting over. And we've done this analogy before, right? It's this tiny little niche everyone's fighting over, but there's this giant, big, lucrative, massive money-making gaming machine that, you know, everyone's kind of ignoring. And that's where all the growth is. And there's so many reasons, and we'll get into that. But I want to hit the data real quick on it first, just to show you. Actually, let's do what was 2019 first. Like, this isn't just a 2020 thing where it just started happening. This has been going on for a while. The Verge posted this the most viewed games list, and this is 2019. And 3 of these are mobile games. Even back then, Free Fire was already number 4. PUBG Mobile was already topping its PC counterpart.
I'm sorry, 4 of them, really quick. 4 of them are mobile games. 4 out of the top 10 in 2019 were mobile games. I mean, you got to imagine maybe even more of this list is now, right?
I imagine that it is. Yeah. So this has a 2019. This is what that looks like. And then let's go back here so we can look at the views increase. And how often do you see, and we look at charts all the time here on the podcast, but how often do you see a line going this, like you said, hockey stick, like north, basically? This is a huge, huge incline to the likes that I've never really seen before. And this stuff is blowing up, and it's because mobile games are the most accessible games worldwide. Almost everybody has a mobile phone, even in third world nations, even in countries where they have not as good internet. Almost everybody has a phone now. So everybody can relate to playing mobile games, and there is just a lot more interest in mobile games worldwide. So it makes sense that there's more views to be had. And not just a little bit more views, a lot, like exponentially more views. So everyone who's stuck on Twitch in this PC gaming club and trying to make it as a streamer or a content creator on YouTube, you're really fighting over something that is
scraps now.
Scraps. That's going to be it's not going to be dying, of course, but it's not. There's no way it will ever grow like this because it's just not as accessible. PC and console games by nature are more expensive. PC gaming is definitely more expensive and it requires a lot more of an investment for someone to even be involved in from the get-go. And consoles are pretty, despite the attempt to make them, affordable, they're not as obtainable worldwide by every person in the world, whereas a phone is much more easy to do. So they're just not as accessible. It's just not going to grow as fast. And if you apply that over time, the numbers win for mobile games. Like the numbers don't lie here. Am I hitting this right?
No, you are, Ross. Give us the actual numbers. There are 5 fast facts in this article about that. Guys, you have to pay attention to these numbers here. So go ahead and pull those up on the screen if you don't mind there, Perrin. There were 5 fast facts if you scroll up just a little bit. And right there, read these fast facts to our viewers. So we like to deal in facts on this podcast, not just opinions, but facts. And this is what's happening with Free Fire as a particular game as it take over YouTube.
Viewership of videos related to Free Fire is greatest in mobile first markets such as Southeast Asia, India, and Brazil. In fact, the United States isn't even in the top 20 for viewership of this immensely popular game.
Yeah, so what does that say to people that are trying to become, Free Fire creators or mobile creators? Perrin, I mean, if you get a lot of viewers in these other countries that are not North America, UK, Australia, blah, 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 are you growing the audience that you want? Is this bad audience? Is it going to make you money? Stuff like that. There's a lot of stigma around that, right?
And there's a lot of unknown. This is new territory. We don't necessarily know the answer. I will say, in my experience so far, that it is a lot more challenging to have like an international audience that is English speaking. And because they're from so many different countries, you have a lot of different dynamics going on. So it's a little bit harder, I think, to build community in that case. And then I do think in terms of making money, it can right now be more difficult because a lot of these nations don't have the spending power of like the US dollar if you're a streamer and if you're an American streamer. So that can be an issue. Although I will say, despite that being a theory, in practice, my revenue has generally been staying competitive with other streamers that I talk to, despite having the international audience. But a lot of my donations do come from actual United States or first world nation donators who just are more active and highly supportive. So, but the thing is, some of the biggest streamers for these games, take a Mobile Legends, for example, the streamer I've seen streamers have 20,000 concurrents, and the small amounts of donations then at that level of viewership add up after a while. And because you can accumulate such higher concurrent viewerships, I think it can end up in the end getting close or being competitive to the same type of money-making ability. But that's all still being tested. It's really, really early to really understand that yet. So we're still kind of looking at data there. Speaking of data, I mean, here's breaking down the countries, but let's go to the next fact too, because the one number that really struck out to me, that'll be a hard time for you to all understand, is videos relating to Free Fire have been viewed over 100 billion times.
Billion with a B. With a B.
Billion with a B. 100 billion, not 1 billion, 100 billion.
So YouTubers got 100 billion views off of this. YouTube channels, YouTubers got 100 billion views off of this game. 1% of that is 1 billion. 1/10 of 1% is still 100 million. So then 1/100th of 1%, you can do the math down. So all you'd need to get a million views off of this game is 1,000th of 1% of this total pie here of Free Fire on YouTube. So you can start to see the math of the mega size pie that this game is. It's bigger than other mega titles out there. So if you can just get your teeny tiny little slice of some of these mega mobile games, you can have a massive audience and you can potentially build a lucrative business around it.
Yeah, you start to see this when you go to like Facebook Gaming right now and you start to stream one of these games where, when you're in PC gaming and you're on Twitch, you can stream. we were talking about this earlier the week. Well, you did your own live stream on this, I think just yesterday on AWOL Gaming. You talked about a user on Twitch who streamed for 220 hours and only got like 2 viewers. And
Yeah,
with
it's so
mobile
brutal.
gaming, there's so much demand. There's so much demand for it that you can start streaming to it, and you can see this sometimes on Facebook Gaming, where you just get a couple hundred viewers, and that the couple hundred equals the one. The views are exponentially higher, which I do think eventually means the revenue would keep up too. If you're getting 3, 4, 5, 10 times the views, then the revenue should be able to be competitive, even if the exchange rate or the currencies of these nations are lower power dollar wise than the USD. So that is the biggest number. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is the 100 billion. If you want to continue on here, I don't know, Ross, if you want to be the one reading this.
Read the sexy voice, Ross. Hit me with your sexy voice.
Sexy voice. All right.
Oh
Since its release in 2017, Free Fire has consistently increased in viewership on YouTube, with its greatest leaps coming in 2020. Among the videos being uploaded, a relatively new format specific to mobile games and cams, videos in which the gamers show their hands manipulating their mobile devices as they play.
Yeah, so this makes sense. And so this is the trend, right? You've got primary cam, where it's got your mug in the corner, and then there's secondary cam. And I've set a bunch of gamers up on technical calls with my coaching service with this. And in the corner, you can see their hands actually touching the phone and the iPad or whatever they're playing with. And the reason why mobile gamers do this is that the viewers want actually proof that they're as good at the game as it looks like they are. So there are emulators where you can play on mouse and keyboard. You can use controller. There's also aimbot and various things for these games. And so people want to actually see you actually playing the game with your fingers. They also want to see where your fingers are on the screen. They want to see how you're orienting it. Are you doing claw grip? Are you playing with 2 thumbs like a North American, et cetera, et cetera. And so that adds an extra layer of interest around mobile games that kind of happened with PC and console. Like for some people that are super high skill, you'd see like the side shot of them playing with mouse and keyboard but it's not anywhere near as interesting as watching somebody actually touch the screen in real time and then seeing what's happening on the big screen in the actual gameplay. And one thing I want to hit on really quick, and I talked about this in my group coaching yesterday with a bunch of, they were Call of Duty mobile streamers in this group. Mobile gaming sponsorships. I'm going to repeat this 1,000 times until you guys never forget it. Mobile gaming sponsorship on YouTube is one of, if not the most lucrative sponsorship opportunity on planet Earth. These companies will just find you. You don't even have to try that hard. If you're getting even hundreds of views on some of your videos, they will just contact you and just offer you money. Last night, I was talking to a mobile gaming creator that was making content around WWE Undefeated mobile game on YouTube. And he got like 300, maybe 1,000 views on one video. That developer contacted him and they're like, here's cash. If you're getting $1,000 per 1,000 views per video on your channel, you'll start getting contacted by bounty hunters that are going to try to give you mobile gaming sponsorship opportunities. And these are people that are paid to go find YouTubers that are making mobile gaming content and score sponsorships with them. These companies are so desperate. Mobile gaming publishing companies are so desperate to have YouTubers cover their game versus all their competitors that they will pay anyone. They will overpay anyone to make any video about their game at all. So like if you're getting like 1,000 views per video, you can easily fetch $1,000 to make one sponsored video about a game. Let me repeat that. If you're only getting 1,000 views per video, you can easily fetch $1,000 to make one video about something like Raid Shadow Legends or any of these gacha games that make tons of money. They will overpay. And the reason they will overpay is because when people download a lot of these mobile games, especially the gacha games, the value per customer is insanely high. So if they pay you $1,000, creators, to make a video about their game, you're like, what do you mean they're going to pay me $1,000? That's ridiculous. I'm a nobody. No, the math adds up. So when people download Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, the average value per customer, the average person that downloads the game and plays it and gets to like level 10 is $362 for each one of these people. $362 US. So when they do the math, if they get you to make a video about their game and it only gets 1,000 views, all they need is for 3 people to become customers. And if they become customers, they make their money back and they make a profit. Only 3 people. So if you get 1,000 views and only 3 out of 1,000 end up getting to like level 10, they make their money back. The math adds up. And so that's why this is such a lucrative space to be in. Mobile gaming is a lucrative space to be in. And the next part is, when you look at the total size of the pie, in terms of revenue in the gaming industry, PC and console, their pieces keep getting smaller and smaller. They used to be deep dish, then they went down to hand tossed. They went down from hand tossed to thin crust. And now this like cauliflower crust, it just keeps getting smaller and smaller. Meanwhile, the piece of the pie for mobile gaming is getting bigger and bigger. It's deep dish, stuffed crust, pepperoni, supreme pizza up here with mobile gaming. And that's why companies like Blizzard Entertainment are shifting their entire company away from PC and console development and moving entirely towards mobile gaming development. This is the future of the industry. Hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars in the old school PC and console gaming industry is now moving to mobile games. And you're going to start to see these mega launches of mobile gaming titles in 2021, 2022, 2023. And people are going to be like, oh, how come Blizzard doesn't make PC and console games anymore? Oh, I bought my RTX 390 Turbo and I don't have Diablo 5. Blizzard doesn't care, because they know they're going to make so much more money off of the mobile games they're releasing. Blizzard is developing 2 mobile games for every one of their IPs, at least right now. 2 Overwatch games, 2 StarCraft games, 2 Warcraft games. Okay? That's the future of the industry. So if you guys want to stay in the past with PC and console, be my guest. But just know the future's moving forward, and this is hockey stick growth time if you want to be on board mobile gaming. If you want to be ahead of the curve, you can grow. If you want to be behind the curve, then you can sit back there with one of the 0 to 5 viewer streamers on the internet and lose.